Hey everyone, for my teaching project, I taught my son's Cub Scout group. They're in the second to fifth grade. So they're elementary school students. The topic I use to teach them is about water safety. And so the purpose of it is because it's important for them to be safe around water. And so I taught them the safety of water. And since it's summer, it's very important for them to be safe. The goal of the presentation is to make sure that they know what they must do to be safe around water, because they could drown if they're not being safe. I also discussed the importance of what to do in an emergency, how to be safe around beaches, lakes, and rivers, how to be safe around the pool, life jacket safety, and as well as giving them tips on how to be water smart. So for my teaching experience, it was earlier today. It was, how do I say, a little difficult because they weren't really paying attention as much as, I would have liked, but I feel like they learned a lot. And so basically some of the things I did was I had a trifold, and I had pictures of the topics that I went over, and I had an example of a life jacket that's approved by the U.S. Coast Guard, which is very important. And they were able to touch the life jacket and see that it was approved by the U.S. Coast Guard and the weight limits on the life jacket, which is very important for them to make sure they're wearing the proper life jacket. We also went over how to be safe around the pool because it's summer, so a lot of them are going swimming at either friends' houses or their own swimming pool or the community pool, and it's very important for them to be safe. Making sure there's like a lifeguard, making sure that someone's watching them at all times, because drowning is the leading cause of death in children, which can cause brain damage as well as other long-term disabilities. About 11 people die every day from drownings, and that's some of the things we went over. And so they do realize that it can happen to kids, especially infants can drown in an inch of water. And so we also went over what to do in an emergency, like for example, drowning is a silent action. So then we also went over how to identify how to be safe. Like for example, around in the beach, lakes, rivers, things like that, how they should really only swim when there is a lifeguard present, pay attention to safety signs, and never, dive in or run into the water, as well as if they see someone that looks like they need help, to call the lifeguard or call 911, and to not jump in themselves, because they could also put themselves in danger by doing that. And like I said, some of the safety safety rules for having a pool, wear a life jacket if you don't know how to swim, or if you're a weak swimmer, things like that. There's also avoid distractions, making sure to ask for permission before you go into a pool, things like that. We also went over identifying life jacket safety rules. 77% of all fatal boating accident victims drown, and 84% of those weren't wearing a life jacket. So I made sure to tell them to go over the life jackets, as well as where to find them and like how to make sure they're wearing the right size. We also identified ways on how to be water smart, like swim with a buddy, know your limits, know when to call for help, things like that. And then overall, we did a pre-test and a post-test. It was true false questions, and they all learned at least one or two things. Their grades went up 1 or 2 points from the pre-test to the post-test. It was the same questions to make it easier for them to understand the types of questions, because they're in elementary school. So overall, it was a good presentation.